Welcome, Erin. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about your time, both during your job search process and also about what you're doing now. So, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and tell us when you graduated and what you're doing now. And then I've got some questions for you.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. Um, like Melissa said, my name's Aaron. I graduated GW from uh, in the fall of 2023. I currently work at ZS Associates as a decision analytics associate.
Wonderful. All right, I'm going to go ahead and dive in. I've got four questions. Number one, what process did you use to find your positions? Um, specific site, LinkedIn, lots and lots of applications, networking. Those are just a
Yeah,
few.
yeah. So, like, I think specifically, I used LinkedIn a lot, just really with seeing. It's a great tool because you can really see who's working there, if there's connections. So I felt like that was kind of the main site I would constantly be checking just to see if there's new jobs. But then also, I think a great thing that LinkedIn does is it will, if you click on a company like ZS, which we're a consulting firm, it kind of shows you other companies that are similar. So I kind of used that as a base and kind of went through kind of the recommendations they would give me to kind of scout and then also see similar jobs that I would be interested in applying to.
That's great. That's excellent. All right. So not just applying to jobs on LinkedIn, but using it as a tool.
Yeah. And then, even from there, it's like if I have a few companies that I was really excited about, but maybe the job was posted, 6 months ago, I would actually kind of keep that on my computer, their careers page, just because I feel like sometimes jobs can go on the careers page quicker than LinkedIn, like a LinkedIn post. So would kind of keep like a Rolodex of, hey, these are companies I'm really interested. I've reached out with people that are within my network that currently are there. But then also like, you know, having that daily check of, all right, let's see if there's any new positions that are like interesting to me, and then going from there and kind of looking at their career pages.
Did you feel about reaching out to people to talk to them at these target companies?
Yeah, I think it's something where you have to practice it. Like I feel like it sometimes can be awkward, or sometimes you feel like, how do I reach out when there is kind of this ultimate goal of like you're seeking employment? And I think sometimes it can feel like this, oh, I just like I feel like I'm using someone to get a job. But in retrospect, I think what you really have to think about is when you're reaching out is you're interested in the role. Like you're excited about what they're doing or the company that they're at. And a lot of times I've reached out and had those connections and those like coffee chats. And I've learned like, okay, this isn't the company that really sounds for me. And that's something that you also really want to go in when you're networking and reaching out and having those chats with people of not just asking for a referral, but really getting to know the role. Because if that is something that you're excited about and want to pursue, you kind of want to know that day to day of that person that's currently working there.
All excellent points. Okay. Next question. How did you prepare your materials, your resumes, if you did cover letters?
Yeah, no, it's a huge one, and I think it's one thing where it's like when you start applying to jobs, you kind of have this one template. And that's how I looked at it is like I've got this one template that kind of tells the story of, hey, this is who Aaron is. Um, but within that, you also want to tailor those resumes and cover letters to the company specific, like whatever industry, whether it's financial, consulting, tech companies. So I would kind of always start with a template and I would pass that in through like AI tools, like ChatGPT or, any other kind of like AI platform that can help me structure. And then from there, you really want to make it personal. Like you don't and I think one thing I started to see is if I'm just using an AI tool and that's all I'm using, the cadence is so similar where you kind of lose your own personality. And that's, I think, the ultimate goal with your cover letters and your resumes is you want to be you want to be personable and professional in just words, which is hard. So if you use just like a chat GPT and, pass it in and say, make this resume great or whatever, professional, the cadence can kind of come out similar to many other resumes that company's probably looking at.
Yep, that's exactly right. I've told people I can tell in about 10 seconds
Yeah.
less, especially with the cover letters. There's always this paragraph that's second to the bottom that says, what I'm particularly interested in, why I'm particularly interested in every single time. And the whole idea is to separate yourself from other people and distinguish yourself, not to look like everybody else. So,
Yeah. I've started to look at candidates for ZS. And when we start seeing, almost like picture perfect sentence structure and how the length and kind of the cadence of how they're talking about each other, it's something that as we're going through them, at least here, and even when I've, asked for feedback from companies that I was rejected at, it's, you know, they always, with this cover letter specifically, want to hear about you, and your interest and why you're interested in that company and that role. So, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
excellent points. So, yes to AI in a limited capacity.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a really great analysis tool, comparing your resume to the job description and telling you what's missing and what you should adjust. And then you can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right. Moving along in the process, how did you prepare for interviews? And did anything about the interview process surprise you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, I think first and foremost, it's you want to kind of practice the technical part of any interview. Data science with the coding and the like mathematical side of things. Like there is that solid foundation that every interview I've ever had with any company has that's always been kind of one aspect to the interview. So a lot of it was looking at past projects and just kind of talking to myself about the process I did, understanding whether it's a machine learning model that I've built or if it's just simply kind of more the analytical, like, speaking, like the analysis portion of it and speaking to that, as well as just like the common, like leak code, like SQL and small, like pandas questions with data frames. Those I always went into practicing and preparing myself because, you know, just researching and hearing from colleagues that will always be an aspect and kind of a part of the interview. I think one thing that was surprising to me, and it kind of goes back to being personable with your cover letter. It's a lot of the interviews I've had, there is, a solid 45 to an hour where it's just getting to know you. Um, you know, and I think like knowing how to talk about yourself, knowing how to answer those kind of like soft skill questions is something that technically sound people sometimes, I feel like they don't focus on that and maybe vice versa. But that was something like the first interview I had was like, oh wait, uh, did I actually practice this portion of the interview? And no, I hadn't. And that was something that from that, interview on, that was something I always spent time on of, talking about myself, talking about why I enjoy like data science or the like analytical side of work. Um, because I think it's also getting to know like, are you going to be a good fit for this team? A lot of teams I've worked on here, it's small sizes, so you're with them a lot. So they want to know that technical side of things, and I always tell people to always spend time there, and that's something I did, but really also focus on like talking about who you are, what you bring to a team. I think that's also very important and something that at the beginning of my interviewing process I neglected. So yeah,
That's the part that I can help students and alums with. The technical,
exactly.
no, but the other stuff, I can definitely work with people on, and there are practice tools that you can use. That's great advice. Okay, last question. What classes or experiences from the data science program were especially valuable to your career?
Yeah. Yeah. So as a like decision analytics associate at ZS, a lot of my time is spent in analytics and coding and a lot of Excel and kind of the modeling side of things. Um, so I think, those core classes with it being like like intro to data science. Like I remember having that as my first semester, and that is still one of the classes that I'm constantly just thankful for because it really gives you this, and I think it's even in the maybe the like the syllabus from that class, but like this full picture of understanding like what is this like data science? What is the role? What does it do? How data scientists can, take their skills and throw it at a problem and come out of that with some sort of solution or be able to talk to it intelligently. And that's one class. I think like time series is something that specifically for me, and I think, and when I have students reach out, I'm always, especially with, some of those classes that you get to choose, I think it's important to kind of be forward thinking of what role do I want? Is it more financial where forecasting will really come into play? Is it, kind of understanding maybe where you want to go? And then also having that like wiggle room of classes that, oh, this is interesting. I'm going to take it, and then more because of it's an interest to me. And that's like the network analysis class that I took. That's one that we use a lot, and that's one I think um, really when I started interviewing at ZS was something that we spoke about a lot because it's something that they didn't see a lot of other students having was just kind of this data science kind of class it's not the typical machine learning or algorithms, where I think they know students will usually take those, but it's kind of this subcategory of classes that they found very interesting. Um, and then I think the capstone is like it is, it was the one project, and I had it with Dr. Lowe, who I know is not at GW anymore, but um, when you start working from like the ground up, I think in taking all your skills that you've taken over those 2 years or year and a half, I I think that really starts to look like the the real world. Kind of what we do here. We're constantly building projects up from nothing. When we're working with clients, it's coming into things with having a little bit of understanding of a topic, but there's no real structure there with the modeling or forecasting or whatever we're kind of getting to with that certain project. So I think that one is very important. And also that has helped me tremendously in the role I'm in now with consulting because we're constantly talking about projects to our clients and talking to those projects in a non-technical verbiage of um, and within that capstone, I mean, I'm sure students know that have gone through it, but it's you spend a lot of your time talking in front of your colleagues, presenting at the end, presenting your poster board. Like, I think that is amazing because it really does help you, and it helped me tremendously. Um, be able to kind of talk about my project in a very sophisticated, getting to the point, hitting those like talk points that both my classmates that have gone through that, grind with me, but also people that are just, walking into the like poster presentations who have never, they don't know any, like they don't know a single machine learning model, or that's a very like foreign understanding to them with like the technical side. So I think that was something that has really carried with me into the role I'm in now.
A great point. You can't always assume that your resume or your interview or anything will be with a data scientist. It might not be, or it might not totally be. So being able to communicate, and then you're going to have to do it in work. So great advice. Thank you, Aaron. These are really great answers for our students to think about and to be inspired by. And we really appreciate you doing this for us.
Yeah, absolutely.